Hi Leo, welcome to your quantum reading with me, Jocelyn, the Quantum Queen. So, Leo, let me dive into my normal spiel. And this is for Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising. And as always, welcome to my cross watchers. And cross watcher, you may be dealing with a Leo, and the message could be for you directly. So feel free to take it however it resonates to you and your situation. Keep in mind that these are general readings, so if it doesn't resonate with you, it's probably not your message. So please don't try to force it in any way, shape, or form, okay? So, and if you guys would like to book a one-on-one reading with me, you can find my information down below in the description box. And just thank you guys so much for liking, subscribing, and thank you to those who have made donations. I appreciate that so, so, so much. So, Leo, what can we get for you today for your message? Okay, interesting. We've got the fire ant. I swear you guys even got this recently. Yeah, maybe? So, Leo, let me pull out a few more cards before we just, like, rip off of that one, okay? Let me see what else we've got. And sorry, guys, I'm still kind of, like, checking the camera because this is a new kind of setup for me, so I just wanted to make sure that I'm getting everything in the shot. Okay. So, what else? Because there's something else about this energy, the fire ant. It's going to be a little bit more detailed, I think, than that. So let's see what we can get. Come on, Leo. Yeah? Okay. We've got the frog. Yeah? Hopefully you guys can see that. So, Leo, I think what's happening is someone kind of came back in for some healing. Okay, or maybe you reached out to someone for some healing over the Mercury retrograde. Isn't that interesting? I just had someone else got the frog and the bee in another reading. So this is what I think is happening, is like you were in, because of the bee, so here we've got the elements. We've got air, so it could be an Aquarius, Libra, Gemini, Sun, Moon, or Rising. We've also got fire. I do want to say that, who are you in this dynamic? Leo, who are you in this? Are you the fire ant or are you the frog? I'm trying to see, like, what's your energy coming across? Actually, Leo, I'm going to stick with that you're the frog, okay? That you wanted some type of healing with a person in your life. And I think what happened was you might have been in some way, like, connected with them in some type of work environment, okay, where this is all about teamwork, the bee energy, okay? It's also a sweetness. And I think that at the beginning of the relationship or the dynamic, things were really good. Like, there was a lot of good camaraderie between the two of you in this dynamic, or if it's a group of people, there was a really good dynamic that was going around all together. There was a lot of good teamwork, and the connections felt very sweet. Yeah, that's why. Okay, that was perfect. So what I think is happening, Leo, is that there's someone where things disconnected or things escalated quickly just because of that fire ant. I want to say that there was some type of, like, all of a sudden a swarming of energy, like something got kind of fiery and hot, and it kind of swept in out of nowhere. And you know, have you guys ever had, like, sat on an ant hill and all of a sudden within seconds you're just covered? Like, you don't even have a heads up or a warning, just all of a sudden you're completely covered in ants and you're, like, freaking out. That's what I feel was kind of happening in this dynamic. It was some type of, where there was a lot of working together, and at first everything was going really well. But then all of a sudden there was just this swarm of energy. Things got too heated. And I think what happened was, it was just because there was a lack of boundaries that got out of control somewhere in the dynamic, okay? And this even could be a bleed through of last week's message, but I'm going to continue on because I think what happened is there was some type of disconnection. And because there wasn't any closure that happened, I think that someone just kind of left the situation to get some healing, okay? But what happened was, and maybe this was even you, Leo, I'm not totally for sure, so you guys are just going to have to take this however it resonates, but we've got obviously the Hawk card, which is another air element. So there's something really significant about that. There also could be a water sign involved here, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but obviously there's this fire. So it even could be a fellow fire sign. Another Leo, an Aries, or a Sag. Okay, so, oh no. What I think happened, Leo, is like someone came swooping back in for some type of clarity or, you know, like some communication, because we've got the bee and the hawk. That's communication and thoughts. And someone here, they just disconnected. And I think that they just like did what was best for themselves. And maybe if this applies to you, Leo, this could have even been you, where you took off from some type of situation because you just needed to heal. Okay. And so I kind of get this feeling that like someone kind of swooped in, because the hawk can kind of seem like, but I'm getting something different. I think the way that you're perceiving things, Leo, if this is you where you disconnected to get some healing, then you almost, I think someone came back in to get some type of clarification, or they reached out, or, you know, made some type of contact with you to like figure out, hey, what happened here? And you're like, you just kind of kept to yourself is what I'm seeing. For some of you Leos, I think you could have come back with some type of response where you were like, boom, this is what happened, this is why the disconnection happened, which is a good thing because there's this really big emphasis on communication and thoughts here. But for some of you, if this was a deep enough trigger, then you might have just gone internally and just focused on your healing, where you just completely disconnected rather than confronting it. Now, this is kind of the cautionary I'm going to pull out with that. That's actually really crazy. There is a flower pot sitting right here that is in the form of honeycomb, and I'm not even making that up. That's really cool. So that goes perfectly with the bee. And so I think, Leo, this person, I think they have things going on. Like I said, this is what drives me crazy about general readings, is I don't always know who's resonating more with this, okay? But whoever this frog is, they kind of disconnected, and I think there's even things going on with them that you're not aware of, about their past, their history, like why this situation triggered them in the first place. But I think that there was some kind of like swooping back in with that hawk energy, because the fire ant can seem like it's coming in swarms. It's swarms of energy that just keeps swooping back in. So I think because there was a lack of closure or, you know, communication that happened in this dynamic, someone's swooping back in just for some clarification. And if you might, in a way, like, for some of you, you might be kind of blowing this out of proportion in your mind and thinking that it's something bigger or worse than what it actually is. Okay, that's one thing that I'm picking up. But at the same time, I think there were some things that happened here that were legit. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to downplay at all if this was a serious situation, but I think what happened was the disconnection happened, and now someone's coming back in for some type of healing and clarification. And maybe that is, Leo, you, where you're coming across as the frog, where you're just like, I don't even want to deal with this anymore. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying that too, because we've got the Two of Swords and the Knight of Cups. That is perfect in clarifying what's going on. So the Two of Swords is blocking communication. So I think that could be you, Leo, where you're like, no, you're cutting off the communication. You don't want to deal with this person. You don't want to deal with the dynamic. And so I'm going to see, like, here's again where you're pulling back your energy. And maybe at one time, because we've got the Knight of Cups upside down, and yeah, it should look upside down to you guys. But I think at one time there was a lot of heartfelt like connection and communication between the two of you. Like things were really good. however this applies. This could be coworker, or, you know, this could be employer, employee, this could be a love relationship, this could be a friendship, a living situation, however it applies to you. At one point in time, there was a lot of like just kind of emotional connection between the two of you. Things were good before, but now where it's at right now, you've just completely pulled back your energy and you're like, no. And I think in a way, there's a couple of things that I'm picking up on, because Leo, if for some of you this is kind of left without some closure and things are just really up in the air, the thing that might actually be really good and healing for the both of you is that if there is some communication that happens, just to clear the air, just to so you guys can come out, heal, have some good communication, and then leave it in the past. Because some of you might still be dwelling on it, and you have to think about what that's doing to you energetically. Like if you're still thinking about the drama or the trauma that went down in this situation, and you haven't had the chance to be able to like communicate and let that energy out in the open, and maybe even tell this person exactly what you're thinking, that's just gonna stew inside of you. And you guys might even notice that it might be causing you some anxiety or depression, or it might be causing you just the tension of it might be causing you to do things like go turn to an addiction, like turn to like emotionally eating or drinking or smoking, things like that. And that's where it's going to turn into like a toxic thing in your body, a blockage, a toxic blockage in your body. This is how illnesses create in the first place, because you're disconnecting in a way, Leo, and that's not the best way to handle this. But here's what I think is so fascinating that was coming out right here is we have the Two of Cups. I mean, I'm going to shuffle these though, but I do think that's interesting. It's just kind of clarifying that there is actually this really good connection between the two of you. It doesn't have to be romantic, okay? Like, don't get too confused with that. For some of you, that is going to apply, but for some of you, it could have just been like a really good connection. Like really, you know, like the conversation was easy and things were really good between the two of you at one time. And then this disconnection happened and someone is just kind of sitting there like, what the freaking crap just happened? You know what I mean? So let me just kind of pull, yeah, look at the Death card. That ended abruptly. That's what I'm getting with that Death card. It just like abruptly came to an end. So let us see what is going on. Now, the other thing too, Leo, if this is you where you're wanting some type of like clarification with another person that just bounced out of your experience, I'm going to recommend something. This hawk energy is probably not the best approach, where you're wanting to work on things, right? And you might try to be really fiery and take action and try to take the initiative and get to the bottom of it. I would not recommend it, because if this is on your side and the way that you deal with things, Leo, is you're very assertive, you're very like, you will take the lead and confront situations and things like that. I don't think that this frog deals that same way. Like the way that they deal with things, they need time. Like they need time to deal with the emotions, because that's what I'm seeing is going on with them, is they have some really deep triggers that came up from this experience. And it wasn't just a light little thing to them. It was something that really hit the core of them. And that's why there was the disconnection, okay? So you have to keep that in mind and be respectful, because here, this is perfect. Here you are, Leo, King of Wands, that's your energy, where you want to come in and you want to like figure it out. You're like, let's resolve this. Let's figure this out. Let's get to the bottom, because it might be driving you crazy, Leo, because here I am switching now to where it's all about you and you're wanting some clarification from someone. So I guess that's how it's going with the reading, okay? But here, this is ultimately what you want. You want like emotional fulfillment. You just want to be at peace, right? And we've got a 10, the 10 of Cups. So you want to put a close to this. You just want to have peace of mind that nothing is going to come from this, or just to understand what happened, just so that you can move on or move forward and put an end to this, however it went down for you. But it's kind of like this person, you might not get exactly what you're wanting, Leo, which might drive you crazy, because here's what this person is doing. They're still kind of learning how, this is perfect. They are still kind of learning how to communicate certain things, okay? So for some of you, if this is, for example, I'm just throwing this out there as kind of like an example. Say that this is someone that had some deep type of emotional trigger when it comes to like sexual abuse, okay? Say for instance this is like a Me Too movement thing where someone like made a joke of coming on to this person and they were like, that is sexual harassment, because they probably have a very deep trigger around like being sexually harassed, or maybe having some type of sexual assault happen to them when they were younger. So that's just an example for some of you guys of how deep this trigger goes, how far back it goes into their own childhood development. And so they're still learning. This is perfect. The way that they've been taught to deal with things from their past, they were never taught to really communicate. In fact, they were always told and taught to just sweep it under the rug. Everyone else did in their environment. And so they don't know how to communicate, and especially this is about boundaries, right? Look at all, we've got swords, 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 and this is Page of Swords and Knight of Swords. But we've got the Page of Swords and Knight of Swords upside down, so they're, again, blocking their communication. That's just clarifying exactly what's happening, and they're still learning how to do that. That's why they're coming out as the Page of Swords and the Knight of Swords, is that they haven't quite learned how to alchemize that yet. And so they will take a bit to turn into, say for example, the King of Swords, right? That's going to take them a bit to get to that mode. So for right now, they're just going into hermit mode, where they just needed to do some inner reflection, kind of figure out what happened here in the first place, like how they got so triggered, why their emotions got so out of control, why things got to the point that it got to. They need that space and time to really go deep within, because especially if this is a water sign that you're dealing with, and if they've got air in their chart, Lord help you, because they are going to be all up in their head, analyzing their emotions. Why did this happen? What happened to lead up to this point? That's what they're playing in their head, Leo. And so, honestly, you will be hitting your head against a brick wall if you try to do things the way that you normally do, where you're like, I'm just going to get to the bottom of this and I'm going to confront this person. I would not recommend that. Because especially if you're the type of person, Leo, where you take the initiative and you just show up at someone's door and demand an explanation, that's not going to go over well at all. Like, at all. This person is not that way at all. The way they're coming across is they're, like I said, more water and air. They don't do that direct type of thing. They don't have that fire and drive where it's like action, action, action. They're very different, Leo. And so that might drive you a little bit crazy, because you're just like, what? Like, why can't we just clear this up and put an end to it? They don't deal that way, because this is such a deep trigger for them, and it's all based around emotions and communication. Like, that's what I think is so interesting. The only freaking pentacles we have is right here, and it's just where they're withholding. They're withholding information. They're putting their guards up. They're just completely withdrawing their energy in this whole entire spread. So, Leo, the advice is just you need to be patient and kind of see if this person is even willing to come to you, okay? But like I said, so I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna dive further into it in the extended. If you guys want to join me over there, you definitely can. Just go down below in the description box, click on the PayPal link, send over $10, and please remember to put in the comments or the description box Leo, the title of the video, the publish date, and your email address where you'd like me to send the link over for you to view how this all works out in the end. So Leo, if this is kind of where we leave things, I'm sending you guys so much love, wishing you all the very best, and I will see you in your next reading. Take care.